myself. There is no Boston boy for us this week, and I do feel a little bit responsible for that. Mainly because we were meant to record this yesterday and I overslept. So that's why we are actually, for the first time in a long time, live. We are live. We are live for the Wrestling Escape Pod. So big shout out to everyone that's watching this live. Big shout out to everyone that's watching this on catch up as well. We've got so much to go through, and honestly, we've had so many submissions sent in as well. It's really exciting to see what you lot are thinking, and we've had some people send in their thoughts for the first time. So there's loads of videos to go through, but what I wanted to do is go through the card first, go through the matches, give you my thoughts on everything, and then we'll get to the video submissions at the end. I think that's probably the cleanest way of doing it. So let's go about it that way, shall we? So let's start with the women's showcase match. So the women's showcase match, this is Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and we don't know the rest, but we might know the rest because it has been rumored that, and if you don't want to know this, stop listening, but it has been rumored that the other women are going to be Natalya and Shotzi, Carmella and Chelsea, and Ronda and Shayna, right? So those are apparently all of the other women in this match. So I have got a few thoughts on this. I think that it's Shayna and Ronda that need to win this. Let us know in the chat if you agree. Shayna and Ronda need to get the win here because, honestly, they need each other. They really need each other. Ronda on her own struggles. She's not a brilliant promo. She's not fantastic in the ring. She is a brilliant fighter, but professional wrestler, not as great. And, there's limitations there. So she struggles on her own. Shayna Baszler has amazingly struggled on her own, and that is very surprising considering how dominant she was down in NXT. So I kind of feel like Shayna and Ronda need each other, and they need this to work as well. Because, honestly, I don't know what else you could do with Shayna Baszler. She just has never quite got going on the main roster. So putting her with Ronda feels like probably her best chance. Now, I look at Carmella and Chelsea. They just seem like they've been thrown together. They're going to lose. They're going to complain. That's really their job on the roster. So I don't think they need the win here. Natalya and Shotzi, again, feel like they've just been thrown together. Doesn't feel like they're long-term tag team. I mean, really, what do they have in common? So, yeah, that one feels a bit thrown together. Liv and Raquel also feels a bit thrown together. I think Liv fans would like to see Liv having a good, successful singles run, going after, the women's title. I'm sure they'd be fine with her winning a tag title, but to be honest, I just don't see that in her future at the moment. There's big reports of Ronda and Shayna going after those tag belts, so it just feels like them winning here makes a lot of sense. And honestly, they should win the tag belts, and then they should go on to dominate in the women's division. So, yeah, in the tag division. So that's our first match, and I've got Ronda and Shayna winning that one. Next up, we've got Seth and Logan. So this is a big match to jump to next. So Seth should win this, as he is one of the best in the world. And more importantly, his full time. I don't really see what benefit it is for him to lose this match. I understand that it gives a little bit of, say, credibility to Logan, but honestly, I just don't think the fans are going to care. You see the same and hear the same reactions that I see and hear, and people just don't like Logan. Simple as that, I think. People were maybe warming to him, but it seems like the reactions have got very toxic ever since that Crypto Zoo thing. That seems to have really had a big impact. And as a result now, I mean, he was getting boos before, but now they seem to be nuclear. So I don't see why we need Seth to lose to Logan. I feel like Logan is really just here to boost the social media. So he comes in, boosts social media, and then goes away again. So it's as simple as that, isn't it? You know, he's here to make sure WrestleMania gets a boost on social media, and that's about it. So, you know, he'll be back around, say, SummerSlam time to give that a boost on social media as well. And there are actually reports of him against John Cena for SummerSlam. So we already know who his potential opponent is going to be. So, again, does he need to win here? Logan fans will say yes, of course. He's got great potential, but potential is nothing without application. And, you know, for him to come in and do 2 or 3 matches a year to boost the social media, fine. I mean, look, it is what it is. But, you know, as we said, it's hard to heap praise on him, and it's hard to get excited about him if he's just not going to be around, and he's just not going to do, like, you know, Raws. And, you know, I mean, maybe it'd be a bit too much to ask for him to do house shows, but he's just not around, not on B-show pay-per-views, you know. He doesn't even make all the pay-per-views. So, like, as we said, he's here to boost the numbers for the big shows. And as we said, you know, we already know his opponent for SummerSlam. But what next for Seth? And I think that's a very interesting conversation. What next for Seth? So I think Bronson, Reed, I think LA Knight. Personally, I would love to see Pete Dunne. I think Seth Rollins against Pete Dunne, if you build it properly, because apparently there is going to be a draft coming up just after the Royal Rumble. After WrestleMania, there is going to be a draft. It was meant to be after Royal Rumble, but it didn't. Obviously, that's not gone to plan. So it looks like it's going to be after WrestleMania now. So, yeah, Pete Dunne apparently getting his name back. Whether that means he's leaving the Brawling Brutes, I'm not sure. But I'd love to see a feud between him and Seth Rollins. It doesn't need to be anything massive. Doesn't need to be like for months and months and months, but just a proper match, not a Raw match, a proper match between Seth and Pete Dunne, I think would be absolutely awesome. But I don't mind Seth and Bronson Reed in a feud. I don't mind Seth and LA Knight in a feud. I think Seth and LA Knight would be fire, actually. So I'm totally down for that. So yeah, give Seth the win, and we move on. Right, next up, we have got Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. So this one is interesting. I think that Rhea is going to get the victory here. So Rhea needs the win following her loss at WrestleMania 36. Charlotte win will set up a rematch at Backlash. So I think Rhea wins this, but there is a way that Charlotte can win this. And as I said, if Charlotte wins it, then you do the rematch at Backlash. And I think that could be quite interesting. We saw something similar, I think it was last year, with Ronda. I think everyone thought Ronda was going to win, myself included, at WrestleMania. But, like, she didn't get the belt. And so what they did was they did put the belt on her, but not until WrestleMania Backlash. And I do think that WrestleMania Backlash is going to cause some problems, because I feel very comfortable with a lot of my picks. I think a lot of this card is, I don't want to say predictable, but I feel quite comfortable with the majority of it. But I do find myself questioning some of it, because I think, well, they're going to need some big matches for WrestleMania Backlash. Now, they could be rematches, so they could be rematches, but equally they might not be rematches. It might be that we actually get people trying to win the titles for the first time. So yeah, I'm looking at this as Charlotte probably should lose, probably should put over Rhea, probably Rhea should get revenge for WrestleMania 36. But as I said, with WrestleMania Backlash around the corner, there's maybe an argument that Charlotte retains and then Rhea gets the win there. In regards to next steps, I think that Rhea as champion could face the likes of Mia Yim. She could face the likes of Becky Lynch. She could face the likes of Raquel Rodriguez. I think Raquel against Rhea would be a lot of fun. And as we said, a draft coming up after WrestleMania could see people moving around, and that could create some of these potential matchups. So some exciting options there. And I was trying to think about who Charlotte could go on to face. And I've got Charlotte Lacey Evans. I think Charlotte against Lacey Evans would be a really interesting match because Charlotte is a face. Lacey is a heel. Lacey needs a feud, a credible feud for her to get her teeth into. And, her coming out and just beating people in like 2 minutes is not going to do anything. She's got to go up against someone of significance. And Charlotte, if she doesn't have a title, could be that person. So, yeah, interested in seeing what would be next for both of those. Coming up next, then, we've got a big one. We've got the Usos against Sami and Kevin Owens. So, Usos against Sami and Kevin. So this is pretty straightforward. Again, I feel pretty good that Sami and Kevin are going to get the win here. Again, we have to think about Backlash, and we have to think about a potential rematch there. Again, though, it could be that Sami and Kevin win the titles and they give the Usos the rematch, but the Usos don't win the titles back. That's it, I actually don't want this to drag on too long. I don't want it to be a case that we've got Sami and Kevin and the Usos like all throughout the summer. Like, I know it's a big story and I know this is a big part of the story, but I don't know. I just don't really want it to drag on. I really don't want it to like outstay its welcome kind of a thing, So, yeah, I am looking at Sami and Kevin getting the win. We could do a rematch at Backlash, but I think Sami and Kevin will get the win there as well. Will Solo get involved? Because it would be a bit strange if he didn't. Solo coming down. I don't think Roman would. Roman obviously is thinking about Cody, getting ready for that. But Solo doesn't have a match. So there's not really a reason as to why Solo can't come down and help the Usos. And if that happens, it's probably a really good place for Randy Orton to come down. There's obviously been a lot of talk about Randy being involved at WrestleMania. That's a big rumor that's doing the rounds today. Apparently he is ready to come back, and so they're looking at WrestleMania week. So we don't know quite where he fits or how they use him, but that would definitely be a spot. Or Riddle. Riddle would be an option as well. So you could definitely use Riddle. So Randy or Riddle... either of those coming down to deal with Solo, just take him out of the picture, allowing it to be just Sami and Kevin against the Usos. And as I said, I feel pretty good about Sami and Kevin winning. And then we've got what's going to happen after. So I think the Usos could split from Roman after. We've already seen Jimmy teasing that he's not happy in regards to being held responsible for his brother. He made that comment about not being happy about being, held responsible for Jay. Jay obviously didn't say that he loved Roman when Roman said that he loved Jay, which I thought was very interesting as well. Roman versus Jay at SummerSlam as well, I think could be an option. We could have the Usos realize that Roman is this, bad negative force and Sami was right. We could see them potentially turn face. We could see Jay standing up to Roman. I think Jay versus Roman, even though the titles wouldn't be on the line because I think by that point Cody will have already got them. I think that people would still be really down for seeing Roman versus Jay. And I think that would be a nice way, actually, to end this story because hopefully then that's when Roman could potentially lose to Jay and maybe go on holiday after. We know that he's going to go on an extended break soon. We don't know when. It's hard to know when that's happening. We don't know if it's straight after WrestleMania or it could be after SummerSlam. But either way, he's going on an extended break soon. So, Jimmy not happy, seemingly. Jay not happy. Don't know if you saw, but Solo was being shouted at by Roman after Raw like the cracks in the bloodline are there to see. They're there to see. And obviously, it feels like it's going to rip apart. We just don't know if it's going to be at WrestleMania or further down the roads. So, Sami and Kevin winning the titles. Who can they face? I think the Viking Raiders would be an option. I think Imperium would be an option. I think RK Bro could be a lot of fun as well. Face team versus face team. But seeing Randy and Riddle back together, building up like a bit of a dream match. I know face versus face kind of splits opinion, but that could be a lot of fun, you know. That could be a lot of fun. Next up, we've got Brock against Omos. Not really much need to spend too long on this one. It's honestly, neither person needs the win here. Like, Brock doesn't need the win. Like, you know, he's not going to be any bigger if he beats Omos, and he won't be any worse off if he loses. Omos would benefit from the win, in truth. But Omos just is not ready, is he? I mean, Omos is not at the point where he can pick up a victory and kick on. I just don't see him kicking on. I feel like this is probably going to be Brock F5 in Omos and like getting the pin and the win. I think this is just because it looks good. You know, it looks good, doesn't it? Like, Brock beating Omos is going to look very good to the casual fans. I feel like Omos joining the Hurt Business might not be the worst idea, because I think you could use him as a bit of a bodyguard, a bit of an enforcer. You could have Cedric, you could have Shelton, you could have Bobby. They could be the ones that really wrestle. And then, you know, if ever there's a War Games or there's a need for some sort of big faction war, then you've got a Omos right there that you can turn to. So I think I'd be tempted to just have him around as a special attraction rather than trying to get him competing on a regular basis and trying to make him a wrestler. I think I would just use him for like big special matches and leave it at that. And then just have him as a part of the group, still have him around, but have him as an enforcer, getting involved, causing some, you know, distractions and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, if we can do more with him as we're kind of getting going with that story, then we can always look to, you know, do little bits here and there as we go along. But yeah, this is a tricky one. I feel like Brock's going to win it. But as I said, it's not one that he desperately needs to win. And then I was thinking, like, what next for Brock? I would love to see the Brock Gunther match. I feel like we're going to get that at some point. I did put a little thing out on social media saying, how about Brock and Logan Paul? And the reason why I said that is because Logan is just coming in and having matches at the big shows to boost social media. Like, that's seemingly what we're using him for. And so who better than to put him in there with one of the most recognizable names in the WWE. You know, we're putting him in there with Seth Rollins this time. But like, how about putting him in there with Brock? I mean, him going up against the Beast, you know, it could be really, really interesting because, I mean, Logan might have Brock on the mic. I mean, I feel like Logan's talking is good. I think it's better than Brock's. But I think that Logan thinks quicker and is a bit more sarcastic and a little bit more witty, if you will. I mean, it's hard because we haven't seen loads of Brock. But I just feel like Brock does his talking with his fists. Do you know what I mean? I feel like Brock is all about just smashing people, whereas Logan obviously hasn't got the size and the strength of Brock and can talk a little bit more. I don't mind that. I really don't mind that as a matchup. Logan isn't someone that bothers me in WWE. I'm not really into like coming up with dream Logan Paul matches, but I could see the value in doing that one. I think on social media, Logan versus Brock, I think it plays very, very well. I think it looks good, plays well, and I think it would grab attention. So just something to chew over. Right, next match, the men's showcase. So this is Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus Ricochet and Braun versus the Viking Raiders. So I think the Viking Raiders need this because if Sami and Kevin are going to win, then we do need heel teams. Heel teams are going to be desperately needed. Braun and Ricochet could get the win because they're maybe the biggest names in this match. We know that Braun's a former world champion, for example. I don't think there's any other world champions here, no. So, Braun has achieved a lot more than anyone else here. So you could make the argument Braun and Ricochet are in with a chance, but I feel like the Viking Raiders could really do with it. Street Profits splitting at some point has to be up for conversation. Don't know as and when that could happen. Obviously, they've been looking at Montez. So I think they do want Montez to go off on his own. But honestly, that might not happen around WrestleMania. That could be SummerSlam or even later than that. But I do think a Street Profits split is going to happen at some point. And maybe even some point this year, because they put Montez in Elimination Chamber. So it does seem like they're looking at him. So I'm going to go with Viking Raiders on this one. Next up, we've got Becky, Lita, Trish against Damage Control. I think Damage Control need this because they are the real faction. The other team has just been thrown together. A loss here could set up a rematch again. We've spoken quite a bit about Backlash. Easily Damage Control could lose. And then they could face these three again at Backlash. Or Damage Control could win. And then that means that EO and Dakota get a tag title match at Backlash. Either way, I think we're probably going to get something here at Backlash again. There's probably a chance we get Becky and Lita versus EO and Dakota, or we get Trish versus Bayley, or, there's going to be some sort of combination here that will play out at Backlash. I'm going to say that Damage Control get the win. I don't feel brilliant about it. I think there's definitely a chance that Becky, Lita, Trish could get the win. But, look, we're going to have to see how it plays out. But I'm going to go with Damage Control. Trish turning on Becky is something else I've seen people talking about. I don't see it happening. I don't think she does. I can't see the need for a heel Trish. I don't think she's necessarily sticking around. So I sort of don't see that one, to be honest. I'll go with Damage Control, but not easy to call because, as I said, I think we could definitely see some sort of combination of these women playing out at Backlash as well. Then we've got Edge versus Finn. So we've got Demon Balor, hopefully, should be. Edge has called for it. And obviously... looks like we might be getting like the Brood version of Edge. Demon Balor needs this win. Simple as that. Demon Balor needs to win. Last time we saw Demon Balor, it was very disappointing. Edge is in the final stages of his career, so putting over someone like Balor, I think, makes a lot of sense. I was trying to think what next. What next for Edge? If he loses this, that is it with Judgment Day. It's got to be over then, right? So what do we do next? And I was thinking, I took some inspiration from AEW because they have been doing gauntlets. Not gauntlet matches, but I like the idea of Edge facing, say, 3 people. And if he wins those matches, he gets a mid-card title opportunity. So I really like the idea of, say, Edge versus Karrion Kross. If he wins that, then he faces Bronson Reed. If he wins that, then he faces LA Knight. And if he wins that, then he gets Gunther. Or he could have Theory. And I kind of like that because it gives him something to do over a period of about a month. It gives him 3 opponents that I just don't know that he's going to face otherwise. We are at the point where I expect him to retire this year. So, his time is coming to an end. So this would be a really good way of putting him in matches that matter against people I don't know that he would face otherwise. So him against Karrion, him against LA Knight, him against Bronson. That then means that he gets a mid-card title opportunity. And imagine Edge versus Gunther at like a B-show pay-per-view. That would be fire. That would be awesome. So I'm totally down for that. So, Edge versus Balor. Balor wins. But as I said, I wouldn't worry too much about Edge. There's definitely options for him. Next up, we've got Theory versus John Cena. Theory needs to get the win here. John Cena's just not around anymore. Cena's been killing Theory as well. That segment between them was just a murder. So we really need Theory to show that he has got what it takes. You know, Cena said that Theory is like the prototype version. Well, Theory needs to find a way of becoming Thugonomics Theory and really showing that he belongs at this level. And you know, I'm probably like many of you. I'm waiting for the killer matches. I'm waiting for the killer promos. I'm waiting for the killer content from Theory. I feel like he can talk and he's very comfortable, but we just don't get those promos. And I feel like in his matches, they're fine. They're not bad, but where's the 4-star, 4.25, 4.5, 5-star matches that I feel that he's capable of? They haven't shown themselves. So we're waiting for that. This is a big opportunity. It's a completely everywhere on the mic, in the ring. This is a massive opportunity for him. There will be so many eyes on this match. Theory versus Cena. There's no doubt who needs it more. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a case that Theory picks up the win. And then I was thinking, like, who does he feud with? We've already said maybe he ends up getting into a bit of a feud with Edge. I really like that. I think Rey Mysterio would be a good shout as well. I kind of feel like him just beating these big names and coming through these big challenges, I think makes a lot of sense. But I also like him against Johnny Gargano. Him against Johnny Gargano, I think, would be really good. That's a feud which we've sort of had a little bit of, but not really to any point that's been satisfying. So I would definitely be down for seeing that. So yeah, I'm going to go with Theory. Next up, we've got Bray and Bobby, and I'm not going to spend long on this because we know that Bray is ill. There's been no news, no updates. I know people got excited about the posters, but my feeling is that those graphics were made before Bray was ill. So I don't take that as a sign of anything other than Bray was, you know, going to be on WrestleMania, which we already knew. So I kind of feel like it's horrible timing. I feel like if the match happens, Bray wins. But yeah, really, other than that, there's not really too much to dig into because we don't even know if we're getting the match. I would say if we get the match, there's a really good chance that Alexa is going to be a part of it, though. So there's a good chance we see Alexa. But yeah, as we said, you know, not going to spend too long on that. It would be great if in the build we had had Hurt Business against Wyatt 6. Like, that could have been amazing. Like, I feel so sorry for Bray. I feel really sorry, and I hope it's nothing serious, of course. I feel bad for him because WrestleMania is so important, and when he first came back, we said he needs a killer WrestleMania, and he's pretty much missed the whole build. So, as we said, hopefully he's going to make it, and hopefully everything's all right. And if he gets there, I think he wins, and I think we see Alexa, but just awful, yeah. His health is obviously more important than the result there. Right, next we've got Bianca and Asuka. Asuka has never won at WrestleMania. She's 0-3. She needs the win. She desperately needs the win. But I think Bianca's going to do it. I think Bianca wins because this build has been so flat. It just does not feel like this is the end of her reign. It hasn't felt big enough for this to be the end of Bianca's title reign. It's just felt like an afterthought. It's really got this horrible build. Horrible. It's one of the worst championship builds I've ever seen for WrestleMania. There's nothing to it. She's come out, Asuka's come out, saved Bianca a few times, dribbled a little bit. She then attacked her after their tag match the other day. And that is literally it. That is all we've had. There's been no interest in promos. There's been no backstage segments. There's been nothing. It's been awful. It's been really bad. But as a result, this just doesn't feel like we're about to take the title off Bianca unless it's a massive swerve. Unless it's a massive, massive swerve. Because if it's a big swerve and they're just lulling us into a false sense of security, then do you know what? Fair play. because they've definitely got me convinced that it's going to be Bianca. I think we definitely see the mist. I don't know if she misses with it or maybe she gets it, but Bianca still survives. I'm not too sure. But, the mist is going to play a part. They've made a big deal in letting you know she's got the ability to, deliver this mist whenever she wants. So it's definitely playing a part, but I don't think she wins. Right, next, we got the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew. I think Gunther needs this. He's the longest reigning IC champion. 285 days. The record is 454. So he's the longest reigning champion since, I believe, the 1980s. If he beats 454, will be the longest reigning Intercontinental champion ever, right? And that is like 160, 170 days away. It's not that far away. So, that is definitely on the cards for him, on the agenda for him. I think Brawling Brutes could do with getting into a big feud against, say, the Judgment Day. We know about the Pete Dunne name change. I like the idea of Pete Dunne and Seth at some point. It doesn't have to be this year, in all fairness, but I really want that match at some point. What next for Drew? That's tricky. I mean, maybe we get Drew and Theory. We could maybe see something along those lines. I think that's a little bit tricky to know what next for Drew. Although, Money in the Bank is in London, so I think if you are from Scotland or Ireland or England, maybe you're going to be featured quite prominently on that show, because it's in London. So I would imagine Drew's going to have something pretty tasty set up for Money in the Bank. But I think this is going to be a great match, and I think that Gunther will retain. And then we get to our main event, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I've got Cody winning. What I will say is that I'm 90-10 now. 90% certain Cody wins, 10% doubt. The reason why I've got doubt is because there's a lot of you out there now, or more people seemingly coming out saying they want Roman to get to the 1,000 days. I did put the tweet out, and we've mentioned on streams, the number I think people should be shouting about more is 1,027, because 1,027 is Pedro Morales' title reign. If Roman gets to 1,000 days, lovely, it's a nice number. But if he gets to 1,027, he beats Pedro Morales. He actually moves up another spot. He goes to 6th. At the moment, he's 7th. But if he gets to 1,027, he goes to 6th in the all-time longest title reigns in WWE history. Not just WWE or Universal. We're talking about NXT UK, NXT, Women's Championships, Intercontinental, United States Championship, WWE Championship, Universal Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, tag belts, absolutely anything. Roman would be 6th on that list if he beats 1,027, right? So for me, if he gets to 1,000, brilliant. But if he loses it then and doesn't beat the 1,027, I think that's going to be really annoying. So for me, the 1,027 is critical. But I just don't know that he gets there. I really don't. As I said, I'm 90% certain it's Cody. The story is in place for Cody. The story is in place for Bloodline to split. I think if you're WWE, this is your Super Bowl. Like, there's no show as big as WrestleMania. And so this is your opportunity to tell the world that Cody is the guy. Cody is the one that beat Roman. He beat Roman. He's the guy. He's the champ. He's the one that we're back in, and he completed his story, and he did it in front of 80-odd thousand, and blah 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 blah. So I'm feeling pretty good. It's going to be Cody, but there's definitely some doubt in there. Definitely some doubt. I was 99% certain before. I've gone to 90 now. I think Roman shouting at Solo is interesting. I think some of the comments recently have been interesting, definitely teasing the end of the Bloodline. So we're seeing Bloodline end in teases. We're hearing that Roman is going away for an extended break at some point. That's also interesting. We know the end is coming soon, right? So all of this is kind of backing up, for me, it's backing up Cody winning. What about if Roman retains? I was thinking, if Roman retains, how do we pick up the crowds? And I was thinking, what about if The Rock comes out? Imagine The Rock coming out at the end, confronting Roman, who has just retained, setting up something for WrestleMania 40. I think that could be really good, because the crowd, I think, will be quite flat if Roman retains. I don't know that the crowd are going to be as hot as they were in Montreal for Sami, but I think they're going to be right behind Cody, finishing his story and doing it for the Rhodes family. So I was trying to think, would you just leave it on a downer? They have, in all fairness, before left it on a downer. We all saw Montreal, and we all saw Clash at the Castle. But I sort of feel like if you are going to do Rock Roman next year, this would be a great time to bring him out and just have him on the entrance ramp staring at Roman looking back at The Rock. And nothing needs to be said. They're just staring at each other. They're just in each other's presence. That could be good. But I think it's more likely Cody wins and WrestleMania ends with him lifting up the belts. Dustin, love for him to be involved. Don't know that he will. Brandy, she could take out Paul Heyman. That would be amazing. So definitely a few moving parts here. I think Sami and Kevin will deal with Usos. I think Riddle, Randy might deal with Solo. That's kind of my thoughts on this. Final things before we go to people's videos. Celebrities will be at ringside. They'll be backstage. I'm sure, who it's going to be, I don't know. I'm sure Snoop Dogg will be there. Probably the people you've been seeing carrying the gold belt. Maybe Hasbulla will be there. Snoop will be there. Whoever's had that gold championship probably will be in attendance. I think Miz will be obviously the host and maybe do something with LA Knight. There's obviously a few thoughts. LA Knight and Stone Cold could do something, which I think there's definitely a chance of that. It won't be a match. I think it'll just be a moment. Ray and Dominic, I think if that match does happen, and we are expecting it, I think Dominic would likely win. I think Dominic needs it more than Ray, so I'd go with Dominic. This isn't a show that you tend to get a lot of returns on, so I'm going to go Big E, Riddle, Randy, Naomi. I feel like we'll get maybe one of those, maybe two of those across the 2 days. But, I think if people are expecting Big E, Riddle, Randy, Naomi, Switchblade, Jay White, all of these people, that's just not what WrestleMania is like. If you look back at previous WrestleManias, it's not like we drown in returns and all this kind of stuff. If anything, they save a lot of call-ups and returns for the Raw after. The Raw after is when we get all of that. So, don't forget about Raw. This is going to be Triple H's first Raw after WrestleMania, and I think he's going to go big with it. So, I think he'll save quite a bit for the Raw after. And, if Switchblade is coming in, maybe the Raw after is where I can see him making an impact more so than at WrestleMania. The other name as well would be Gable Steveson. I just don't know what we're doing with Gable Steveson, but we've been saying that for a long time now. So, again, could he be a name? We'll find out. So that's my thoughts on WrestleMania. We are running out of time. Let's get to yours. Let's go over to Miss Clown.
Hey yo, Miss Clown 1 here. Just want to say a quick happy hello to everybody. Hope everybody's safe, sexy. One thing for WrestleMania, I'm going to say, the main event for me, I'm flopping all over the place. Because Cody wins, right? Cody Rhodes wins. Full story, lovely moment. I'm sure that's going to happen. There's a small part of my brain that's like, maybe shock everyone and Roman makes that other milestone that DAZE was talking about, the 127 or whatever it is. But that's all I'm going to touch base on. So I love you all. Stay safe. Stay sexy.
Boom. There was Miss Clown. Absolutely awesome. Great thoughts. Let's go over to O'Neill's. And we're going to start with Patrick O'Neill.
Hey, WrestleScape Pod, it's Patrick O'Neill. I know, it's getting longer. Anyway, guys, I'm here for my WrestleMania predictions. Trust me, this took me like 6 times now to record this. I kept saying Royal Rumble, I don't know why, and then there's a lot of background noise and people interrupting. So, hopefully this time goes well. I say Cody Rhodes will win. Put a bet on that, please. John Cena will win. Rhea Ripley will win. Asuka's going to win. Gunther is going to win. Edge is going to win. The Street Profits will win. Omos will win. Becky, Trish and Lita is going to win. Logan Paul, I think, might win this. This WrestleMania. And Sami and Kevin Owens will also win. So that's my predictions, guys. Peace out.
There we go, Patrick O'Neill, and you can't have Patrick O'Neill without having the lovely Nolene O'Neill.
How everyone of the WrestleScape Pod family, and Tommy and DAZE. I'm going to predict my winners. So I'll have Cody, John Cena, Rhea, Bianca, Drew, Edge, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, Trish, Lita, Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So yeah, hopefully a couple more matches will end up in this, but so I hope everybody's doing well. I certainly am, so bye, love you guys.
Awesome work there by Nolene. Next up, we've got some thoughts that were sent over from Jordan. Jordan just wanted me to read out what he had. So for Roman against Cody, he's got Cody winning, but only the WWE title, not the Universal. For the SmackDown Women's, he's got Rhea defeating Charlotte. Raw Women's, we've got Bianca defeating Asuka. Brock against Omos, we've got Brock. Seth versus Logan, we've got Logan winning with Jake Paul's help, which I think is interesting. I'm not sure that Jake will get involved, but he could do. He certainly got involved during Crown Jewel, so we could see him again. United States Championship Theory against Cena. Cena wins, but then loses on Raw, which again I think is really interesting because you could absolutely do that. We've seen, I think it was Zack Ryder win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania and then lose it on the Raw after. So there is a precedent for that. We have seen that before, so I think that's interesting. Whether they would want Austin Theory to lose on such a grand stage, I'm not sure. I feel like we need to build him. That's the only reason that I would still go with Theory, because I think we need to build Theory. So having him lose at WrestleMania but then win on a much smaller show, I don't know that really helps his image, but it's really interesting thought, and they could absolutely do it. Becky, Lita, Trish against Damage Control. Becky, Lita, Trish winning. Edge versus Finn. We've got Edge winning. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew. We got Sheamus winning. And then we get Drew versus Sheamus at Money in the Bank, which again makes a lot of sense when you think about it. That show is in London. Then we've got tag team title match. Usos against Sami and Kevin. Sami and Kevin win. Then we've got Bobby against Bray. Bray wins. Dominic versus Ray. Ray wins. Raquel, Liv, Shayna, Ronda, Natty, Shotzi, Carmella, Chelsea. We've got Shayna and Ronda picking up the win. Then we've got the men's showcase. That one is won by the Street Profits. We've got Randy Orton returning. We got The Rock appears on the entrance ramp after Roman versus Cody, acknowledges the crowd and walks to the back. So there we go. Those are Jordan's thoughts. Let's jump over, shall we, and see what Joseph has got to say.
I am going with Rhea Ripley to win, Asuka to win, John Cena to win, Cody to win, Kevin Owens, and Sami, Edge to win, and I think The Rock will come back.
Great work, Joseph. Awesome job. Love some of those comments. Let's go over and see what our old friend Aaron has got for us.
We have to kick off with a bang, so we'll kick off with Brock Lesnar versus Omos. So this will be a really good match. It'll go about an hour and everybody will be jumping out of their seats. So I think Brock Lesnar will just win by the skin of his teeth. So Brock Lesnar. The 6-woman tag team match, I think Damage Control will win because they're a team. The other team aren't a team, so the team should win. Asuka versus Bianca Belair. I think Bianca Belair will win. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. I think Seth Rollins should and will win this match. The triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. I think Sheamus will win this match, hopefully. John Cena versus Austin Theory. You can't see him. Austin Theory for the United States Championship. Austin Theory will win this match, I think. Finn Balor versus Edge. I think Finn Balor will defeat Edge. Sami Zayn and Kevin versus the Usos. I think Sami Zayn and Kevin will win, and they will hug and they will cry, and I will cry. We'll all cry, we'll all cry. And that will be it. Rhea versus Charlotte. I think Rhea Ripley will win, and I think that this will be good. This will be good, I think. Adrenaline in my soul. Cody will beat Roman Reigns. Bye.
Brilliant work. Awesome picks. Let's go over to someone who I always look forward to getting videos from. This is the man, the legend, the Hall of Famer, Grant Jameson.
DAZE, Triple T, WrestleMania prediction. Lights go out. We hear, howdy. The uncle makes his way down the dark and eerie corridor, pours out a Mountain Dew pitch black, just chugs it down. And that just beats everybody up. Anyway, enough of my family drama. Let's get to my WrestleMania predictions.
Honestly, he never fails to make me laugh. Absolutely awesome video submission there from Grant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, let's go over to much loved member of the community. It is, of course, Edward.
Hey guys, so this is my early WrestleMania 39 predictions. Here we go. First match we're going to start with is Edge versus Finn Balor. Now on Raw, I've seen it, he said to Finn, bring your demon. So it'll be Demon Finn Balor probably versus Devil Edge. I'm going to go Edge on this one. The main event of practically the whole show, night 2. I'm going Roman. People want Cody. I do think Cody beats him, but it's SummerSlam. So I'm going Roman for WrestleMania. Said what I said. Match. Rhea didn't win 3 years ago. And she didn't win it Money in the Bank. Or SummerSlam, I believe. So I'm going Rhea. I'm not really bothered about this match, but I'm going Brock. Austin v Cena. As much as I love Cena, he's the GOAT. I'm going also Phoebe. Do think Cena could win though. Seth Rollins hasn't won since 2019, so I'm going him, but I want Logan to win. I'm going with Trish, Becky and Lita. I'm going with Gunther on this one. The Street Profits. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now, we don't know who's on this, but if Ronda and Shayna are in it, I think they'll win it. Next up is this match, Bianca.
Boom, there we go. Awesome work by Edward. Love the little demon that you put in there. Kind of kinky. So, Edward, shout out to you. Let's go on, shall we? We've actually got a submission from Austin316. For those of you that join us on a regular basis, Austin, a much-loved member of this community. We'll get to his in a second. We've got Jordan up next. Let's go over to Jordan's submission.
Hey DAZE and Triple T. This is Jordan, and this is my second community submission for the channel. But here's my WrestleMania Hollywood predictions. Men's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Match. I have the Viking Raiders winning, since it will make sense due to the outcome of the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos tag match. For the Women's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Match, I would think Ronda and Shayna would be in that match, so they are most likely going to win it. Next up is Logan Paul against Seth Rollins. I feel like The Miz will play a big factor in this match because he's been a big part of this story with the Miz TV segments and the tension between him and Rollins. So I can very likely see a Logan Paul upset at Los Angeles. A potential segment that could be on the show is Stone Cold and LA Knight, which will end in a stunner and Stone Cold drinking beer. Next up is Dom against Rey Mysterio. I have ex-con Dom actually winning this match, and here comes a bold statement. I think that Dom is the one to retire Rey after WrestleMania. Next up is Gunther against Drew against Sheamus. I have Gunther winning the title and retaining. Next up is Rhea against Charlotte. I have Rhea Ripley winning the match and becoming a new champion. Bianca versus Asuka. Now, I would love it to be Asuka, but with how they've been booking this, I have a strong feeling that Bianca is going to pick up the win. Next up is Brock against Omos, and this is a pretty easy one. I have Brock winning with an F5. Next up is Theory against Cena. I actually have John Cena going over and Austin Theory getting the win back at SummerSlam. The next match is the 3-on-3 women's match. Now, I honestly think that Damage Control really needs this win, because if they don't, then I really don't know what they are going to do with them, because they've been losing momentum for like the past few months. So I honestly think they really need to win. And I can also see Trish turning on Becky in the match. Next up is Edge versus Finn in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, if this is just Edge versus Finn, I think Edge should win. But if it's Edge against Demon Finn, then Finn needs to win. Next up is the Usos against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now, I definitely think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens needs that win, because in my opinion, if they don't, it would be a waste of months if Sami doesn't get anything for his work with the Bloodline. And now the final match is Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes. Now, I think the popular answer is Cody Rhodes winning with his momentum right now, but I'm picking Roman due to multiple reasons. One of them being that he's really close to the 1,000 days. They've got him all the way to 900 plus days. I think they'll give the title to Cody at SummerSlam. But honestly, Cody returning to the company, beating Rollins 3 times, and one of those times while being injured, to coming back and winning the Rumble, and now winning the biggest championship in the company at WrestleMania in a main event, just feels a little like the Russianness in my opinion. And that's all of my predictions. Thanks for choosing my video, guys.
Awesome video there. Really detailed picks. Love that. Great work from Jordan. So big shout out to you, my friends. We've got a couple more. Don't forget, we've got one coming from Austin 316. So get excited. Let's go over to Hawkins Jr. Let's see what Hawkins Jr. has got for us.
Hey DAZE, Triple T,
It's Hawkins Jr. here from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. I'm not giving a WrestleMania prediction. I just want to give a huge shout out to my man, Rey Mysterio. Congrats on going into the Hall of Fame. And I hope this isn't an angle. I hope it's legit. And yeah, I hope everybody in the community enjoys their WrestleMania weekend. And bye for now.
Very cool. There we go. Hawkins Jr. talking about Rey Mysterio going into the Hall of Fame, which is fantastic news. I don't believe it to be an angle. I think he is legit going in. So, yeah, and I personally, I was so excited at the news of Andy Kaufman going in. I thought that was brilliant news as well. We've got the Austin one coming up next. So, we've got Austin 316. Now, unfortunately, this is an image that he has sent over. It's not a video clip like I'm sure we were all hoping, or an audio clip like we were all hoping. It is an image, but even so, I think this might be the first community submission that Austin has ever sent. So even an image is still significant, and a big shout out to Austin. Let's get to it. This is what Austin wanted me to show everyone. Pretty funny stuff as well. Pretty funny from Austin 316. So Roman, no belts. So Austin very much making his feelings known as to what he expects from WrestleMania. And there we go. So, boom, we are pretty much done. We are done, my friends. I really do appreciate everyone stopping by to go through these predictions. What we'll try and do is break this video down into little chunks and get them out as like little separate videos on the channel as well. For those that haven't been able to join us or don't really fancy watching an hour and quarter kind of long video. So we will do some stuff with this. And of course, more important than that, we need to get Triple T's thoughts. So I've asked him to send over a video. As soon as he does that, I'll make sure that it gets put up onto the channel, and so that you can get his breakdown for WrestleMania as well. So actually some extra content on the way. So boom. Yeah, awesome. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for joining. And hopefully we see you again next time. Bye for now.